Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Patricia Zavala, and I am Vice President of Santa Paula Latino Town Hall. This month, Women's History Month, we are interviewing admirable women, and with me is Maria Bermudez. Um, and she'll be sharing with us all her accomplishments and her ties to Ventura County. So thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What a pleasure. Wow. It's been a while. Santa Paula is a place where I grew up. And it's been quite a journey. And I'm still on it pretty much. But yeah, Santa Paula High School, Barbara Webster was my grammar school there. And I have beautiful memories of Santa Paula. But it feels like something that's been so far away now because I've been living abroad for a lot of years. Just my chosen career was music and art and dance.
Can you share with us what led you to that path of arts?
Yeah. In my household, in my family, there was 9 brothers and sisters. And initially I was born in Los Angeles, in the east of LA. And we were 9 brothers and sisters. And of all of those brothers and sisters, I had one that was a dancer. And he did Mexican folklorico. He did many forms of dance, but mostly Mexican folklorico. Then, of course, I always say, there's a thing we say about flamenco dance, that when you see flamenco dance for the first time, it's very powerful. And so my brother was taken away into that world, into the flamenco world. So he kind of dedicated his life to flamenco after that, after seeing his first show. And so I kind of grew up with it in my household. Then, unfortunately, he passed at a very early age, but he had already done his journeys to Spain to learn from the source. And so after he passed at an early age, at the age of 29, I was still a teenager. I kind of took it on somehow. It just kind of spoke to me. I don't know, or like a continuation of his journey. So that's when I decided to take flamenco as my profession. But in Santa Paula and in theater, I started doing theater. I had interest in doing theater, acting, and all of that. And thank you to my Santa Paula High School counselor. Her name's Aurora de la Selva. We still remain friends to this day. She was a very important part of my life. That's how important it is to have mentors and people that can help young people forge un camino, as we say, for evolving in a positive way. Because, as a teenager, you can go this way, you can go this way. But when you have great teachers and great counselors and people that can help you, well, she was very, very important part of my theater life. So I started in the theater. And then after that, flamenco came into my life. So that's been my life for the last 35 years.
What obstacles have you faced throughout your entire journey?
Well, the first obstacle was economic because it's expensive to travel, especially because I was I don't know, when I made a commitment to making this my life purpose was to be part of the arts. I needed to be in Spain, like my brother had taught me also. You need to go to the source. So the first economic challenges was economic. I mean, the challenge was economic. But then, you figure out a way, you work 3 jobs and save all your pennies and make it happen. You make it work. Um, here I had my parents in the background and my family, and that was the most challenging. One of the most challenging things was to sacrifice your family life. You leave your I don't know, your cultura. You kind of leave it on the background for you to go and forge a career. But I tried to come back and forth as much as I could. The other challenges, which I didn't expect, super interesting. Speaking of Aurora, we would talk about this sometimes, but um, culturally, as we know the history, I don't want to get too deep into that, but the whole history of the Spaniard, la conquista, Mexico, y todo eso, sometimes came into play, something I never expected to deal with, but it is part of the equation. So I had family Mexicanos that were not super happy about me taking on flamenco, meaning España, no? And then in Spain, there was also the part of, well, you're a foreigner, so you're not, from Spain. So what are you doing flamenco? So I did have that challenge, on both sides.
How did you navigate those obstacles?
Yeah, good question. Well, for me, arte, anything that has to do with art, music, dance, anything that has to do with something that's meant to be inspiring, has no race, color, creed, none of that. It stands alone, and it does. It's something that's very that needs to be a very strong passion for you to be able to navigate all of those obstacles, because they can be strong, they can be intimidating, and sometimes you just feel like quitting sometimes, because if people are pointing the finger at you, like, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? And that doesn't equate in my brain, because for me it's just about the dancing and the music and the arte, and that's something that's meant to inspire. So I made sure that I just stayed my course, and with always with respect and dignity on all levels, and just kind of got to a level that was respectable on both ends. And at the end of the day, everybody's got their history, everybody's got a lot of challenging historical, sociocultural challenges. So you just face those by showing what you do and excelling at them. And hopefully it really blurs the lines of differences.
Thank you. And I see you brought some items with you. Can you please share with us their significance?
Yes. Well, this is the flamenco shoe. That's where my feet suffer many hours a day for many, many, many years. And and as you can see, actually, talking about the cultural similarities, with the Spanish and the Mexicano. I mean, the Mexican folklorico has very similar shoes to these. And so we are a brotherhood. There is some similarities there. And the zapateado. So yeah, these are the shoes that are special for flamenco dancing. Y la flor, y la peineta, España y olé. And but look, those are all things that are significant to the costuming, ¿verdad? Of flamenco. But yeah, a lot of sangre, pasión y sudor, blood, sweat, and tears go into using these things for for making the performance happen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And with us, we also have Laura Gallardo. Laura, thank you for being here with us.
No, this is Aurora.
Aurora, sorry.
Okay.
Aurora de la Selva,
Sorry.
mucho gusto.
Aurora de la Selva, whom you mentioned was a
I
bit-
just mentioned my Aurora.
Yeah, what a surprise. And I show up. You did magic.
Yes, I manifested you.
Yes, you sure did.
Aurora, can you share with us your background?
Well, I grew up here in Oxnard, born and raised here all of my life in Colonia, and studied here, went to college. I think one of the most significance for me was before becoming a professional is my family did the opposite. We went to Mexico when I was about 15 years old. So that was opening like a whole other world to me, because here in Colonia, you weren't exposed to a lot of things. We didn't have, I remember liking summer school because we would cross the tracks and go to the nicer schools, elementary schools, and they had more things to play with, more balls, more everything. And I loved summers. But I think for me, what was gave me a lot of pride is having gone and lived in Mexico in the years between when I was 15 to 18 years old. I came back in 1968. So that was a big opening, because there you saw professional women. You saw your teachers were Latinos, were Mexican. The bankers, you would walk into a bank and they were Latinos, Mexicanos. You didn't see that here. Your teachers were, and they were great, not to criticize them, but they were all white. We didn't have Latino teachers. We didn't have Latino counselors. So going to Mexico and living there and being exposed to the arts that we didn't have money. My parents didn't have money so that I could take piano lessons or ballet lessons or go out in the park and draw, where we had those experiences in Mexico. You were exposed to the arts.
Mhm.
They were more art friendly in a way, and all different levels of income can access that. There were opportunities. So to me, I think when I came back, and we had to come back because we were still struggling economically, and we stayed here. But I think that gave us an impetus, that gave us some pride, and we knew que si se puede. You can be a doctor, you can be a teacher, because I don't think that I would have become what I am now, having, gone to school, gone to college, gone my master's in education, had I not been exposed to that and see that it is possible, because we didn't have those role models.
Role models, yeah.
And even here as a woman, I love sports. And I remember going to Moore Park College, because at that point there were a lot of programs for anti-poverty programs, and they were to assist people like me, low-income students, go to school. So we were bused into Moore Park College. A bus would actually come to Santa Paula, to Fillmore, and to Oxnard, Thinksy, and they would bus students into Moore Park College, and that's where we were able to get our opportunity, because we had that support. There were a lot of programs, or a lot more than there are today, to help our youth. So that helped us. So I went to Moore Park College, and even then, as a woman, I loved sports, and I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to play volleyball, but the boys, there was one gym, and the boys practiced first. So I couldn't stick around, because the girls and the ladies would practice after the boys practice. So I couldn't participate because we had to be bussed back.
Oh,
So there were, so there were some, even in the late 60s, early 70s, there were still issues with, access to, as a woman, to have access. Other than that, I've been a participant in community. I participated in many, on the board of mental health issues, a coalition against domestic violence. And I just try to serve my community, because in the 60s, you grow up with that, the Chicano movement and helping others that are less fortunate than you. So that's already in you. So I wanted a career where I can help others. And counseling was my passion. And that's how.
And you're so good at it, Aurora.
Thank you.
Till this day.
And you
Yes.
touched on how important representation is. Can you touch on
On representation.
Yes. As a Latina?
Yeah. It's when you think about your path, it's interesting. It's got like a double-edged sword a little bit because, for example, let's talk about the movie industry because that's where it's very, very obvious. Sometimes, let's say there's going to be a Latino movie made, and you have auditions for this Hispanic movie, and it's a Hollywood. Let's say it's for the industry from here. Sometimes you wonder and you say, well, the obvious thing that it's represented and it's interpreted by a Latina. If there's roles for Latinas, always it should be the first option. But then the other side of that is, well, or should it be the best actor or actress to play that role, even if it's a Latino role? So that's where the juxtaposition has always kind of been, because I've kind of gone through that myself on the other end, because, well, you're not Spanish, you're not from Spain. It should be a Spaniard dancing flamenco. Like, but I fell in love with this art form. So why am I not going to be allowed to perform something that I love? So I think the representation, comes first as your persona, as your person. And I think it's organic when you just accomplish what you're set out to do and you're Latina. Not to say I'm going to go out there and do it because I'm a Latina, but no, this is my background, and I get to dance flamenco, and I'm going to be an actor that can play, this, that, and the other role, and my background is Latina. Does that make sense? I'm hope I'm making sense with my jet lag from that I just got in last night. But yeah, I always kind of feel like that's more important than putting the labels first. So I think representation has to be slightly refocused and just doing your job and loving what you do and being influenced and creating your role models. Because now, the more role models there are, then that inspires any child from any walk of life, from any background, to just go and do what you do without saying, well, you're Latina, you're African American, you're Asian, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you're a person first. Then I think with that comes your heritage and your passion and your objective for doing what you want to do, I think.
I think there wouldn't be that issue if there was representation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to get, well, why is that person getting that role? I'm a Latina. If there was more representation and there was more work to get that done and accomplished, we wouldn't have to be fighting for every role, because there is that representation.
Mm-hmm. And it's happening more and more. No,
Yes.
Aurora?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we still have a long way
We
to
have
go.
fight for it.
Yeah, we still have a ways to go, but it's, paso a paso. But yeah, I think that that's a good point, that representation has to be a lot more of it, no? Yeah.
Thank you. Aurora, I know you spoke about your some struggles and obstacles. Any words of wisdom that you'd like to give as to how you were able to overcome those obstacles?
Well, I think self-confidence, you have to be around people that push you up. You can't be around people that are putting you down, because I think if anything, what gets you through every struggle is having that confidence that you can do it, and being around people that give you that and not put you down. Because if you're going to respond to your own calling and not to what others want for you. So to me is having that confidence to move on and not let anybody put you down. And no matter what they say, if you're focused, you will get there. But to me, I never let anybody, even though if I was criticized or put down, I didn't let that, oh, it did bother me, it did hurt, but you can't let that predict your future. So I would say that, do whatever you can to build that confidence so that you're not easily broken down or stray from your goals.
Thank you. What about yours?
Yeah, well, probably like all of us sitting here, had parents that had to work very hard, to overcome so many challenges, of course. Again, our raza, our cultura, we've this area, we moved here from Los Angeles because of the migrant work. And that's where, I saw my father work his fingers to the bone, and I saw his pride and his dignity never wavered. He just, there was a work ethic that he instilled in us, and likewise my mother. And so I think that was like one of the most important things, is to be very, very conscious of a work ethic. And also another thing is to kind of change the status quo of the kind of work we do, because again, representation, coming back to that. Yeah, I saw my father work in the fields. I worked with him, and we all shared in that. But like Aurora says, when you put your objective on something that's your passion, that you really want to do, you got to find the confidence. And so if your parents instill in you with that a work ethic, work hard and keep going, don't look to the sides. You maintain your journey and your focus, because, oh, that one's better than me and the other one is doing more than, no. What do you want to do? It's over there. Keep your eye and your love for what you do. And the gratitude. I mean, there's so many things that you learn after so many years of trying to achieve goals and achieve things that you love to do. But I would say work ethic and maintaining your path against all adversities.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add something. When she was 15, 16 years old as a high school student, you were always focused, no matter who you hung around with. She had a lot of obstacles, being low income, living on the other side of the tracks, and she wanted to be an actress, but she was embarrassed to tell her friends, her buddies, that, because
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Other Chicanas, I mean, they would have made fun of her, going out for acting. So, but she kept it. I mean, she didn't tell other people what she wanted to do, but she was always focused. I could see that in her, that she never gave up. But she knew how to navigate the groups that she was with to pursue her path. And that's what I admired a lot about Maria.
Yes, and back of what I was saying earlier, and because I had a counselor such like Aurora, who, and this is a funny little anecdote, because she saw through all of that tough exterior, because hey, it's when you're in high school, and there's different groups and cliques that you hang with, and sometimes we choose the most challenging ones, and then there's all of those things that happen when you're a teenager. Sometimes you need a person that says, I see through that. And that's what Aurora did. She said, Maria, I see all through that. I see through that tough exterior. What do you really want to do? And so she inspired me by being somebody to break through that and say, you should do what you really feel, no matter what you're hearing from this one and that one and the other one. And so it's so important to have great teachers and great counselors. I mean, this is a perfect example. And and then you keep going, and now I'm full circle. You kind of see yourself performing at Walt Disney Concert Hall and the Hollywood Bowl.
Can you
And
share with us all the places you've danced?
yeah, those are some of them that, full circle. I started here, little by little, working in clubs, just getting your name out there, getting known here and there. And then things just start evolving because, again, you keep getting good at your craft. You just keep working at it. And I would make sure I would go to Spain and learn from the source, and people, producers started showing their interest to produce my shows and etc. And so, things just happen in an arch. In Europe, performed in, most of Europe, the UK and Switzerland, Sweden, and Asia, Japan, Hong Kong, Australia. I mean, there's been a lot of countries that flamenco has welcomed me, on many levels. And then full circle back home, the Hollywood Bowl, Los Angeles, Walt Disney Concert Hall, the John Anson Ford Theater, and then little theaters, which are my favorite places to perform. The Fountain. Yeah, Aurora's come to a lot of my shows. It's one of my favorite things, by the way. We're still friends after all these years.
Once you form that bond.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Anyway, so someday Santa Paula, I gotta go perform in Santa Paula.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't think I've performed in Ventura
No, I
or
don't think you have.
Oxnard. I
No,
don't think
the
so.
Carmen Zapata, when you were the Carmen Zapata
Oh, yeah.
theater group, you
Yes.
performed at the Performing Arts Center. Here,
That's right.
Sangre y Arena, I'm not sure.
See, that was a theater piece when I was still acting. And that was a Lorca piece.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, Federico Garcia Lorca. And the Bilingual Foundation of the Arts was part of my theater background. So I did some of that, and I was on tour here. Yeah, that's what I did here. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Anything else you'd like to add, either of you?
Other than I'm very proud of her, and every time she performs, I start crying.
I know
She's come a long way.
well, because she knows my humble beginnings. I think that's part of it. And, but, and I say now we, because we represent our people, and when you have humble beginnings and you have people that struggle, and, like today, I have to tell you, just driving through here, it kind of, so much nostalgia came back, and thinking about my familia, y eran campesinos, and I still have family that still works, and very proudly, I'm still, hey, somebody's got to do this work, and they do it better than anybody, pero we are here to inspire. I think that's my most heartfelt, I think, message would be, if I can serve for anything, it would be for inspiration, and to just be there to inspire people to follow their dreams and their love for what they do. Not hold back.
Anything you'd like to add?
Gosh, I'm not prepared for all this. Well, I think if you're in a position that you've sort of made it and been successful, I think it's our obligation to help others, to bring
Yes.
them up, and to be there, available, just not sit comfortably and just look at everything you've accomplished, but you have to give back.
Right.
Yeah. I hope our youth, I think there's a lot to be done still with the youth here in terms of the arts and access, and still a lot of work to be done. And there's not enough programs that were around before where they can access the arts and teaching and learning piano, learning music, learning theater. There's not enough of that around, and it's not being supported. So I would want to continue working in that area.
Please do.
Great, thank you. Thank you all. thank you both for being here. It was truly an honor.
It's
And
our honor.
yeah, I'm definitely
you.
going to look into flamenco. It's something that you hear and I've seen here and there, but with saying all the places you've performed, it's definitely sparked an interest.
Oh, good. You see, that's where it starts.
I'm not a dancer. I have 2 left feet.
Oh, that's
but
okay. Be
I'll
still,
watch it.
yeah, be inspired by it.
Yeah, so thank you both very much for sharing your stories
A pleasure.
and those words of inspiration. Yeah, thank you both.
Thank you, Baba. Thank you.